Let the magic rise.
You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hey folks, a very big welcome to Jingly-Jangly, your weekly wrap on the latest political spills and esoteric thrills. Coming to you from Europe with me, Olly Connolly in Spain. And not him, Piers in England, because he's doing panto again. Back end of a donkey this week. He's back the week after next, which is a pity, but never mind. But hey, we got Gary Branson instead, in a basement in California, along with his chickens. It's 10 at night here in Valencia. It's an hour earlier in London. It's 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 o'clock in California. Talking of which, Gary.
Hey.
Gary. He's alive. He's alive.
He can be bought. I don't know exactly how.
Oh, Gary, how are you, mate? How's your chickens doing?
The chickens are laying strong. That's how they're doing.
Are they ready? Ready for Christmas? Oh, that's a turkey. Do you keep any turkeys? Gary, you've gone, mate. I don't know where Gary's gone. What happened to Gary? Gary? Oh, you're alive. Oh. Let's see who else we got on the line. Lesley, Blair, are you there?
I am here.
Hey, we got a guest. This Skype thing is a bit unreliable, huh? What about you, Andi Reiss, filmmaker extraordinaire? Are you about? I'll tell you what. You know what we need?
Uh-oh.
So hold on a sec. I need to find out where Gary is. Well, Lesley, what's going on with you? What are your highlights of the week, mate? What has stirred your interest this week?
Well, I'm just waiting to see what's going on in terms of the president-elect, or should we say select, and how that's going to turn out. That's going to be interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's weird, isn't it? Because he's been saying all these things in his campaign which don't really seem to ring true with what's going on with his transitional team. I don't know. It's very, very. It's impossible to say, though, isn't it? I mean, it could well be that he's just keeping his cards up his sleeve until he actually.
Well, exactly, and this is a very, very interesting kind of a situation where you have some people that love the guy.
Now, hold on a sec. Lesley, just a sec. Hold on. We obviously need a production meeting here. We've got... Hey, Andi, I can hear you. Thanks for joining us. And just keep it down.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was my tardy response. I have been online.
Oh, I tell you, you're always...
I'm so sorry.
All right.
Shows. Gary, you're
and I'm back too, yes.
What happened to you? What, you want to feed the llamas or something?
I don't know. Out here, the internet connection is literally in the bottom 10% of internet connections in the United States where I live.
Really?
Wow.
You're in California, yeah?
Yep. In California, I live in an area that has internet connection speeds in the bottom 10% of what claims to be the greatest nation on earth.
Gary, Olly, sorry to interject here, okay?
No,
I heard an astounding fact today that because we're talking about the year of 2016 this evening, I heard that there has not been a year as revolutionary since 1848, and more importantly, the internet connection in 1848 was better than it is today.
Okay, so yeah, there's a clue as to the show today, and thanks, Andi, for taking the lead. I appreciate that. Tonight, the show we're going to reminisce on a beautiful year, We're gonna analyze 2016.
Are we?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I suppose we are. I mean, we haven't got anything else to talk about.
I've always got things to talk about.
This is Christmas season, though. News. I mean, it's just crazy the amount of news that's going on, even now, coming into Christmas. We're still worried about the reds under the beds, or the mainstream media seems to be worried about the reds under the bed. We are, as Christmases go, in a very news-rich vein. No?
Yes.
Oh, yes. In fact, the thing that I just heard about is that the Nobel Prize Committee is having a forum in Oslo. Anybody want to take any guesses as to who they're inviting to speak?
Barack Obama? No.
Nope.
They were his Nobel Peace Prize bloke, weren't they?
Yes.
Bob Dylan's.
That's true.
Bob Dylan's double.
Now, Henry freaking Kissinger.
Aye.
Wow.
Yeah.
They really don't understand PR, do they?
Wow.
They don't understand peace. I mean, they really need to get a better understanding of what kind of definitions they're working with here.
Okay, well, look, I'll tell you what we're going to do, guys. This is an experiment tonight. This is a free-for-all. First of all, I want to throw out to anybody that is bored enough to be listening to the show tonight to call in and come and have a chat with us and pull us up and spread some Christmas cheer with us and give us a few positive vibes off the back of 2016 or else give us the fear of God and whatever, and I'm sure it'll be interesting. And you can call in on US number 310-421-4053. And you can get that number on the website, freedomslips.com, at Revolution Radio. You know the deal. You're probably tuned in there already on the schedule there, and you can call in, you get the number, what have you. And if you are listening and you like the stuff, please, donate some cash to Revolution Radio, give us an early Christmas present, etc., etc. Tonight, the bottom line is we're going to look at 2016, see what's happened, and maybe do a few little bit of predictions about 2017. And I thought it would be quite good fun if we put this into a kind of a sort of a panel show kind of a format, and just see how that works, and so we'll see if hold on a sec. I'm playing with some sound effects here. They're not working. Just to see. There we go. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, good, brilliant. So fingers on the buzzers, guys. We've got Andi Reiss, who's a renowned filmographer, documentary maker, journalist type character, who was on the show last week, telling us some pretty amazing stuff about Big Pharma and the whole HIV/AIDS deal. And he's come back on this week to talk us through a bit of 2016. So big cheers to you, Andi. Hello there, and
Oh, how are you?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. Have a cheer. There you go.
And what were your
Yeah, there you go.
That's all. And what were your resounding memories of 2016?
It's I guess it's two words, isn't it? It's three words. It's Brexit and it's the US election. But I mean, that is just, there's more to it than that. But you're cheating. You're cribbing, mate. We haven't got to the quiz yet. We've got Lesley Blair, who's just a lovely sort of esoteric kind of a character who I know well from Facebook and spread some real cheer on there, and is an all-round geezer and a bit of a voice of reason. And Lesley, it's really lovely to have you back on the show. You were on the show a while ago, actually, before we moved next. So it's really nice to have you back.
Yeah, well, thank you. Welcome. I'm glad to be here. Hello, everybody.
Lesley, remind us where you are so that people get
I'm actually in Raleigh, North Carolina, East Coast.
Raleigh, North Carolina. And Andi, you're in Oxford, England, aren't you?
I am, yes, and it's pretty wet, actually. I have to say, it's quite warm, a bit wet, and I have to say, I saw, and this is actually a news flash. I saw Jeremy Paxman, BBC Newsnight presenter, in Ann Summers this afternoon.
Right. Is that why he's hobbling around on a stick? I heard that he was using a walking stick these days.
He was there with Paul Whitehouse from the Harry Enfield Paul Whitehouse experience, and whether they were there together, I don't know. But You heard it here. I saw them both in Ann Summers this afternoon.
And Summers is a sex shop chain, isn't it, in the UK? It's a bit like WH Smith's, except
it is indeed. And I was there with my 5-year-old son, Charlie, just buying him a Christmas present.
In Ann Summers?
Yes.
Lovely. Oh, right, we won't go any further on that one. And Gary, where you are, presumably you're in your basement and it's completely dark apart from the candle, so you don't know what the weather's doing outside. Well, I mean, I don't know what it is. I tell you. So what were you saying about internet connections, Andy? Right. So
yeah, indeed.
What we're going to do then, and this is all a bit ad hoc, is we're going to I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you guys can answer them, and then I'll either do something like this. Well, I would if it played. Oh yeah. Let's just get on with it. So, we have two contestants at the moment because Gary seems to be falling off a bit, and we'll get him back. What have been the stories of the year? What's happened in 2016, guys?
Well, I'll go right ahead.
Yeah, go on, Lesley.
Oh, me? Oh,
yeah. Go ahead, mate. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Just interesting stuff in the sense of this whole. From this perspective, from this angle, it's just interesting to watch what's been going on with this election. It's actually been kind of hilarious to me.
Do you think the U.S. election's been the big story of the year? I mean, it would be hard to disagree with that.
From this perspective, when you talk about the, so to speak, responsibility or whatever have you, or the position that this country is supposed to have, with the world, and then you look at what's going on in the leadership of it, supposedly, it's just really kind of a very bad insult to everybody's intelligence. It's just hilarious. To me, I find it hilarious. I find it's just really, really funny. It's very, very funny to me. Not like in a way like, oh, it's comical. Not like that. Like more like, you serious? Like, are you serious? Yeah, it's just hysterical what's going on. And I'm talking about. I don't care which side of the fence you're on.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that don't think it's hysterical. Hold on a sec. We'll do a quick cut to the DNC, Democratic HQ in New York City. They're still upset. That's our special correspondent there. They're still upset. It's been a mixed emotion, hasn't it? A mixed bag. Andy?
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, it has to be Trump and it has to be Brexit.
Trump and Brexit.
Yeah, and these two have resounding ramifications for what happens next year. And come 20th of January, and I think the imminent days afterwards, it will be very, very telling.
Yes.
Telling after what? After the inauguration, you mean?
Yeah, because I think Trump will move swiftly, and I think we'll find out within a very short space of time as to how he's doing this.
What do you think he's going to move swiftly on? Because I still can't quite work out. I heard what he said he was for. I mean, how often do you believe any of these candidates with what they say? Because the mandate generally seems to fall out the window.
Well, I mean, I think in the first week of Trump's inauguration, I mean, he's going to announce the engagement of Prince Harry and the volcanic eruption in Japan and Hawaii.
Yeah, that's right.
I think he's then going to create a celebrity kidnapping somewhere in the Saudi and royal family, and we'll see what happens after that. I mean, he's got Angela Merkel to deal with and the refugee crisis, but I think Prince Harry's engagement. He might try and buy India.
That was the correct answer.
China.
That was the correct answer. Sorry, go on.
But I think he'll do it quickly. You know, and I think that he will make some economic and military pact with Russia in the first week, so that the US win every Olympics, both winter and summer, for the next 30 years. And I think that will be a good economic policy.
Well, okay. Gary, what about you?
As long as we don't have to host the Olympics, that'll be good economic policy.
Indeed.
What do you think about that, Gary? I know you got cut off for a while there, but these guys seem to think that Brexit and the US election are the big stories of the year.
You know, I can't really see anything being bigger than that, with the possible exception of all this pipeline business.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
who's sniffing there? Who's sniffing? Somebody's sniffing. Stop sniffing over the line.
I'm
Go on.
sniffing out the news. That's why I'm your political stringer here in the
Lovely.
U.S. I'm
Good man,
sniffing
Gary.
out the news. Such as another pipeline 2 hours north of the DAPL situation.
Yep.
Just spilled this week, dumping out like 176,000 gallons of oil into a river.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Nice. What was that, in the Columbia or something? I think I read something.
It was 2 hours north. It was up there in North Dakota, some virtually nameless river that will probably eventually feed its way into these Native American people's water supplies and on into the rest of ours as well.
That's delicious. Do you think, Gary, that Trump will move swiftly for change of some kind once the inauguration happens?
He's going to change a few
like
things.
Andi mentioned.
I did hear you talking about
who's
Trump
punching
says.
the keyboard? God blimey! It sounds like you got somebody in the ring.
Yeah. It's me. I'm on Tinder. Sorry, hang on.
Yeah, I knew. He's looking for a woman, isn't he? He's
just swipe
through Tinder.
Swipe. Don't be tapping keys. Just swipe.
Okay.
Did you guys see the clip of Trump where he flat out said, I forget what the exact topic of conversation was, but he said, "Yeah, that played well before the election, but now we're after the election."
That's right. That was about the drain the swamp. Yeah, that's right.
Unbelievable.
But he didn't say that.
He doesn't care anymore.
He didn't say it. Newt Gingrich said it.
Mm-hmm.
No. This came directly from Trump's lips.
This isn't the drain the swamp thing, then.
No. It was completely different. I'll have to look up where the clip was at, but yeah, it was. Oh wait, no. It was about the drain the swamp thing, but
for
it was.
Goodness sake,
Trump
get it
saying,
together.
Hey, I can't even maintain a stable internet connection over here. Give me a break. But it was during the swamp conversation.
I don't see any point in having Trump unless he drains the swamp. I mean, sure, you could argue that maybe or maybe not he'll create jobs. Who knows? But the reason surely to go with Trump, to give him any support, is for a corruption clear out in DC. I know that that's wishful thinking. I realize that. Barack Obama said it. We are change. Well, it didn't happen, did it?
Trump is nominating the CEO of Exxon to be the United States Secretary of State.
Doesn't bode well, does it?
Not so much with the draining the swamp change scenario.
Yeah.
That's right. What do you think of these military appointments?
Not much. They're going to get us into war.
That's exactly
within
right.
the first 100 days.
Exactly.
Do you
and what
think
do you,
that? Sorry,
and what do you guys think of Trump's stance on NATO?
As in getting out?
Yeah.
He's a very isolationist kind of guy, and yet, I don't know, he's going to go back and forth on absolutely everything that you ever talk to him about.
Yes.
So it's going to be virtually
impossible. What do you mean? He's
going
to U-turn, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. He's gonna corkscrew. He's gonna U-turn, then U-turn again, then go back around to the front again.
Yeah.
and his supporters will be with him every step of the way without the slightest thought in their heads.
I'm
Yeah.
not convinced that they will. I mean, these people were chanting "drain the swamp" at his rallies, and if he doesn't deliver on that, I think that he's going to lose support very quickly. The people are just going to go, we might as well have, voted for Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz.
Yes, but Republican voters don't go back on their support. They, you know what they say, Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line.
Ooh.
That is their mentality.
I
That's
don't know
not
if it
going to
still
change.
is, Gary. I know that that's been the tradition. I agree with that, but I'm not sure that those days are there anymore. Though I think things might have changed since then.
I really don't think they have. I mean, my mother voted for Donald Trump, and because she's a Republican. That's just all there was to it. I did
Yep.
everything in my power to convince her not to, but she did it anyway. And then she didn't even want to admit to me that she did it. So he's going to keep his base of support. That's just going to happen.
I've got a theory for you guys. Maybe you'd throw back. Tell me what you think of this. His military appointments. Could it be because he has got a very military administration, relatively speaking? Could it be that he is recruiting people that he might need to try and overthrow the kind of swamp that Washington has? It is so ingrained that he actually needs military muscle to back up his administration in trying to carry out his manifesto pledge. Might that be possible?
No.
Why not?
Because he is not draining the swamp. He's putting Goldman Sachs people into major cabinet positions.
Yeah,
There
Jamie
will be no
Dimon.
swamp draining.
Fellow billionaires.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is,
it's a billionaire appointing other billionaires to fix the system that made them billionaires, and it's just not going to happen.
Exactly.
Put that thought from your mind.
It's
Now,
true.
that's what I meant by it being
That's true.
hilarious. That's what I meant by it being hilarious. That's funny.
Yeah.
Like, so this is what I think funny about that, and the irony of it. To expect anything else from him other than to do exactly what he's doing. That's what's hilarious. That people would actually expect him to do anything other than what you just said. That's what's hilarious to me.
Oh dear.
See,
Andy,
See?
I suppose you haven't got anything more optimistic.
I do.
about it.
Well, no, it's not necessarily optimistic, but I would like to ask our American friends what they think the rest of the world will need to do to adjust to a President Trump.
May I go first?
Oh, yeah,
May I
please
go
do.
first?
Give me a chance to think.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I'll go first on that one. For one,
Because the rest of the world are, to some extent, we are just, recipients of this.
Yep, captive.
Because we can vote him in,
Right.
and we're just watching the whole thing play out, and yet we're going to be the recipients of major infiltrations. And I just wonder what you guys think that we will need to sort of arm ourselves or be aware of.
Yep.
Well, to be honest with you, you just said something very key in what you just said. What you just basically said was the witnessing of something that's going to affect you directly. Now, you either sit back and watch the fist come and punch you in the face, or you move out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
How do you move
Or
out of the way?
Well, see, that's the thing. Is you almost have to remove the threat. That's the problem. So in other words, when you look at some other countries where you have a dictator, politician, or something or another, well, a politician, right? And certain in certain places, I think it's like South America, right? It's like if the police or something act a fool, like the people actually go to the police's behind. Like they don't have that kind of stuff going on. Or if you look at the massive amount of marches that have been going, I thought that was a very interesting thing to see. Like you got these millions of people protesting, right? Okay, well, what I'm saying is like if we don't do anything as a society, then what you allow is what will continue. Period.
Mm.
What you allow is what will continue. So
Yep.
if you watch this go down and you're just sitting there watching and you don't say nothing and you don't do nothing, then you can expect more of the same.
And Lesley, do you think there is a chance of Trump within the next 4 years possibly going over the top, possibly like JFK for different reasons being assassinated, possibly then infiltrating a World War III, given his relationship with Russia? I mean, is that something that you would predict?
I think
Hold
that's
on.
highly possible.
Hold on. Come on.
Oh no, I think
he's
that's
not
highly
going to
possible.
stop. Why is he going to? He's got good relatively speaking. He's got fantastic relations with Putin compared to Hillary Clinton. Why would that escalate into a nuclear tension?
Here's what you have to understand. This is the funniest thing to me about Trump. Like even with what Gary was just saying, right? This is what's funny to me about Trump. The way that I see Trump is this. This is my personal perspective. He's a businessman.
Mm.
Okay. War is business.
Yeah, but he reckons he's not in business now. I hear what you say, Lesley, about you should never trust any of that stuff. But
Wait,
on the other hand,
you're saying that he's trying to be not in business?
That's what I'm saying. This is all he knows.
That's
He's
what
got
all
a
he knows.
job. He's lining up a part-time job while he's
Right
president.
now. Right now, exactly.
Celebrity Apprentice.
Thank you. And he's got the biggest stage to do this on. That's what's hilarious to me.
The thing that is the most scary about Trump vis-a-vis starting World War III is his impulsiveness.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's really scary to me is he's got
like
that
you
button
got this guy.
and
Exactly.
he can slap it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He gets real emotional and shoots his mouth off. And when you're president of the most powerful nation on earth, shooting your mouth off will have real consequences.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, he's already
So
getting a very frosty relationship with China.
Probable. Yeah.
Yeah, Lesley. Yeah,
well, some people accusing him of treason already.
Yes.
You think?
Where has he committed treason already?
Well, he's making deals with supposedly opening the door to. In other words, like that lady knew to call him.
All of this is alleged, isn't it?
Well, yes.
Well, that's what the word supposedly means.
I tell you, you may be right. History suggests to me, tells me that you guys are right. I mean, for example, I voted for Tony Blair, years ago, thinking, he's the new future and all the rest of it. Things can only get better, all that. Turned out that he was a war criminal. Turned out that we might as well have had Saddam Hussein in charge. In terms of the morality of the character, as bad as the guy that he wanted to overthrow. And I realized that generally speaking, we elect these people, they lie, they tell us something completely different, and X, Y, Z. Or we get ineffectual leaders like David Cameron was ineffectual, just pretty ineffectual, but was not on the people's side especially. I mean, the only reason he gave us the referendum vote was because he was forced to by UKIP, for example, and his own backbenchers. We rarely do we see leaders that are actually worth spit. And so history suggests, you're right about Trump. On the other hand, it was such a revolutionary election. I mean, it was a mad election, wasn't it? It was
a mad election. Indeed. Yes, indeed. Crack
that was my summary of the election. And it was crazy. But Trump, I'll say two things in his favor. Apparently, he destroyed the GOP, the Grand Old Party. Surely that can't be a bad thing because it was basically the Bush Party, or the neocon party, and also inadvertently, along with Bernie Sanders and Bernie Sanders supporters, he destroyed the DNC. He destroyed the duopoly as We know it. Now, okay, look, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I don't entirely agree with this. What I'm saying is
I'm gonna say
there is a strong argument to say that, and that is a qualification for a start of a 10. No.
now there's potential for that. I don't think
And
it
he's
has
an
happened yet,
entrepreneur.
but they are both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are now vulnerable to fracturing.
Yes.
Because they've got hairline fractures all the way through them, both sides of the aisle. But
I thought he dropped the vase. In fact, I thought he kicked it. He was playing quarterback. Sorry.
now those vases are pretty heavy duty. They're stoneware. They're not they're not anything regular fine china.
Yeah, they could do with getting stoned more often, but
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
hey, they should come to California.
So yes, indeed. So you think that the entire election campaign was a facade? Is that the way you see it?
I do.
So we might
thought
as
it was
well have
hilarious.
got Jeb Bush in.
Well, it's like, okay, you had the lesser of two evils, basically, and I'll just go ahead and give my opinion, just my opinion. Like, in other words, like I have a whole completely different view about voting anyway. But let's just go ahead and say that votes actually mattered. Okay, let's just hypothetically imagine that for a second. Okay,
It's a lovely
you mean to
idea.
tell
It is
me
Christmas.
that it is Christmas. So let's entertain that thought. Now, do you mean to tell me that these two people right here is what we're choosing from? This is the best that we got right here.
It's incredible.
These two. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
agreed.
hilarious. I don't care which one of them won. You mean these two? These two right here. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
And
That's what I meant by it's an insult. It's an insult.
Nobody's laughing though.
to the
Nobody's laughing.
intelligent. Yeah, but nobody's laughing because now they see the joke. Because the joke has become a reality.
Mm.
You see, so it's not funny now.
This
But
is
while
going
it's-
well, isn't it? This show is going well.
But here's the thing.
happy holiday.
Indeed, absolutely. And Merry Christmas to one and all. But here's the thing.
Should we sing a carol?
Brexit and Trump.
Oh, Tom Oliver.
The next
Gotta be.
big.
No.
Sorry,
Olly,
sorry.
you said sing.
Can I, Jason?
Said
Sorry.
sing a
Okay,
carol,
I apologize.
not haunt a carol.
Okay, sorry.
Start calling you Bob Marley, or not Bob Marley. Who was Marley from Scrooge? What was his first name?
Ooh,
Ebenezer.
trivia.
Ebenezer
No,
Marley.
that's Scrooge.
No, it was Bob Marley.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
Was
I actually remember.
Was that actually Bob
Right.
Marley?
Bob Marley was named after the Dickensian
All right.
character.
Oh,
Didn't
very
he?
good then. Okay.
Oh,
Anyway, if we can possibly get back to the subject.
sorry, Andy.
If I
always
can
fun.
interject, after Trump and after Brexit,
Yeah.
okay, the biggest thing for next year is the French election.
Yeah.
And if we have a Marine Le Pen, we are going to face in Europe an existential threat. Russia is going to celebrate, and who's going to be on the Russian side?
Why is
It's
Russia going to celebrate?
Because they want the defractured structure of Europe, and Trump will
Why?
react positively to that.
Why? I'll tell you what they want, Andy. What
Wait,
Russia
why
probably
does
wants.
Putin want the EU fractured? That
Yeah,
seems
Andy,
obvious on its face.
Yeah. No. Why?
He's
He'll
seen
want
the
to take over.
he's seen the precisely.
I'll tell you
He's
what he
seen the
wants.
refugee crisis, and he's seen precisely the amount of crap that Merkel's had this week after the Berlin attack for her open policy, and he and Trump and Farage, who were all against any open policy in Europe, will gather sides. And if Marine Le Pen wins,
Open policy to what?
to migration and the refugee crisis.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's right. They're very good on refugees, very bad about stopping wars. That's the
For sure, of course.
Look, I know. I'm not saying you disagree with that. I'm not putting words into your mouth either. But I'm just pointing that out. And also, Ukraine. Of course, he wants rid of the bloody EU. They go into the Ukraine like some kind of liberating force or something, and so you're basically peeing all over Putin's doormat, and then guess what? A whole bunch of the Ukrainians, the Crimeans, turn around and say, "Ciao, Ukraine. We'd rather be Russian. We don't want anything to do with you." 97. Okay, yeah. Who knows the truth? But apparently, 97% or something reckon that they voted that way. Mind you, that's nonsense.
I suppose my point.
My point. All I'm saying there, Andy, is that does he want to lose a trading zone, or would he rather have a European partner that wasn't trying to kick him in the nuts?
Okay, well, let's see. I mean, let's talk about Trump's policy on women. Grab them by the quote unquote.
Now, we're going from Putin to Trump now. All right.
No.
Go on. Sorry.
Hang on. And there's a reason for this. Because if you use that quote, he could find himself, Trump, sitting with 4 major players next year: Theresa May, Marine Le Pen, Angela Merkel, and Putin.
What, you think he's trying his luck?
Well, we'll see, because if that's his way of doing business, he's dealing with 3 highly experienced politicians. 2 of them.
I don't think he'd get very far with Angela Merkel. I'm not sure that Theresa May particularly fancies him either.
But this is the other thing that's hilarious to me. It's like him against any of them. It's almost a no contest.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah.
That's why I mean this is hilarious.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
he will have a few advantages going in.
Go on.
The entire might of the United States at his disposal, for example.
At the push of a finger, yes. That will kill you and bomb your whole country if you give them the wrong type of syrup on your French toast. Yes.
Oh, they'll bomb you into democracy. There's no question.
Absolutely.
That's freedom toast.
Yeah, freedom toast. There you go.
Freedom fries.
Yeah, freedom fries.
Yes. Right. I'm amazed. I mean, we're 40 minutes and we haven't even gotten to Brangelina. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah, I mean, how did we miss that?
We've just got.
What happened to Woman of the Year? Was that last year or was that this year?
That was one of the Kardashians.
Win Woman of the Year?
No, that was
Bruce Jenner, right?
Yeah.
Was that last year or was that this year? I can't remember.
He makes a lovely woman.
This is hilarious.
I met him once,
Did you?
He was kind of a jerk.
See?
Yeah. Years and years and years ago.
Right.
Wow.
So basically, I think that Putin gets a hard time. I think that Russia is being victimized to distract from the sins of the father, if you like, from the sins of our leaders, and that Russia's the fall guy. Correct. It's like red's under the bed again.
It's like good cop, bad cop. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're
that's how they're playing
that. So yeah. Well, tell us about that, Lesley. What? So you reckon they're on the same side?
Absolutely. And that goes back to what the guy was saying a minute ago. That he just said that a second ago.
Andy, come on, get it right, mate.
Yes, Andy. Yes, I'm sorry. I was just struggling for his name. I'm sorry about that, Andy. Apologies.
That's
but
okay.
Yes, that's what Andy was just saying. That's exactly what he was just saying a minute ago. So there's your relationship.
I wasn't listening. I rarely listened to him. What was he saying?
Well, he was basically illustrating the relationship between Trump and Putin.
Yeah.
As not necessarily being opposites, but in cahoots.
Indeed.
But
and this relationship with what might happen, know, with May and Merkel, and what may happen with Le Pen, could be very interesting over the next few months.
Well, listen to what you said.
We're sandwiched.
Well, yes, and from the United States perspective per se, right? Okay, this is how I like to look at things for a second. We all know there's this huge.
Hold on, Lesley. Somebody's making a lot of noise. You just got out a toolbox or something. Is that you again, Reiss?
No.
Gary, what are you doing in your basement? Leave the chickens alone.
You don't want to know.
Blimey. Okay, all right. Okay, we're back on message. Lesley, carry on. Sorry.
Okay. What I'm saying is that when you look at this thing from the whole, Naomi Wolf talked about the dumbing down of America, right?
Yeah.
And even the physicist.
Hold on. Someone's thumping their keypad like I don't know, the blimey, God, a Remainer trying to stay in the European Union or something. Is that you, Andy?
No, I'm just listening to what's going on.
Someone is. I don't know what they're doing. They're doing something nefarious with their keyboard. Please just leave it alone.
Cameras?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You're gonna have to point your cameras at your fingers so I can see what you're doing.
I'm just sitting here listening.
At your fingers.
It's Andy's fault.
Make sure that's fingers.
Yeah. Gary never does it. Right, carry on. Yeah, Lesley.
So what I was saying is, it's just, in other words, if I had to summarize it real short, if there's been this, and this, I don't think this is even a question, if there has been this attempt to dumb down America, right? Okay. Well, look at what we are here. We have somebody that's almost inexperienced in these areas. Okay. He's a businessman, yes. But in that arena, you got somebody that's got like no experience against all of these.
Yeah. But that kind of experience isn't necessarily good experience. I mean, what did you know? She's got 30 years of experience, and the bottom line is that she was on the Saudi payroll and the Qatar payroll, or her husband was.
But even in that, from her perspective, she played that well. When you understand what the objectives are.
What do you mean she played it? Well, yeah. What, she's keeping everybody happy? Well, Americans are dying because basically she's indirectly supporting ISIS via the Saudis or Qatar. I mean, that's appalling.
Well, you have to understand the CIA's role in ISIS as well.
What exactly? Yeah, I know. No, we know what whistleblowers have said.
So we helped found ISIS.
Yes,
we helped fund their initial organization.
Thank you. This is what America does.
I mean, we've been creating our own enemies for decades.
Correct.
So what you're talking about is Al Qaeda, the list.
Absolutely. Can I just go all the way down? Contras go all the way down.
Can I just ask a question here?
Taliban, Al Qaeda, you name it. And this is what I mean by it's hilarious. Whatever, they'll come up with a cross between a Smurf and Frosty the Snowman.
I'll give you an expression that Gary understands. The chickens have come home to roost.
Yes.
Sorry.
There it is.
I just had the most horrifying thought.
What?
You know how in like Silicon Valley, there's all these companies over the last couple of decades that have been, just starting up and with the sole intent and purpose of being bought up by the Googles and the IBMs of the world.
Yes.
What if terrorist groups start founding themselves on the hopes of being funded by the CIA?
I don't think that's far from the truth at all.
I think that's exactly what's been happening, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think that's
since the Afghanistan
let's look at
Russian
Blackwater. Let's look at Blackwater. Let's look at Blackwater.
Oh, that's not a good thing to look at. That's very, very unsightly.
Exactly. But that right there is an example of what he's talking about. If you ask me, they had to change their name, but come on.
Is it true they're now owned by Monsanto, Blackwater?
See?
Is that right?
What was
they're
that?
Probably shareholders anyway.
Absolutely. Well, but wait.
I think it's correct that they are actually a part of Monsanto now, that Monsanto bought Blackwater.
That's right. Yeah. Well.
That is very odd. Why does a food company buy a guerrilla warfare company?
Hey,
does anybody? What are they doing?
Thank you.
Wait, do you actually want an answer to that question? Because I can give it to you.
Well, go on. Okay.
Come on.
I do.
Well, they've been what what Monsanto has been trying to do for years and years and years is in any country where they cannot legally sell their modified products, they'll either force them in or smuggle them in. Man, you hear about South America and Africa and their officials who are trying to keep Monsanto out of their countries. And people ask them, so is this stuff coming in on the black market? And they say, no, not so much the black market as the blank sack.
Ooh.
All they're doing is ripping the labels off of sacks of their grains, shipping them into countries, getting them planted, and then nature takes care of the rest.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they want to guard their operations as best they can, and they need muscle for that.
That's a hell of an allegation,
In
Gary.
comes gray water, I mean black water.
That's a big allegation, mate. I where do you get that information?
The story I just told you?
Yeah.
A documentary. I'll pull it up here in a little bit.
But hold on a second.
Yeah, these were interviews with actual government officials talking about these things.
Is it not? Because another big story. Sorry, Andy. I'll just get this point out, and then you come. Another big story this year: fake news and the whole fake news debate. It's very, very hard to know what to believe and what not to believe. I mean, personally, I think the fake news perpetrators, the biggest ones are the likes of CNN and the BBC, and all the mainstream guys. It's not necessarily that the news is entirely fake, but certainly that it's spun and manipulated tremendously.
Correct.
With the web, same deal. But at least there's a lot more opportunity and to get your information and to get a rounded conversation. But of course, it's very, very difficult. Andy, you were going to say anyway. I just wanted to throw that in there because there are all sorts of themes this year. You were going to say something though. I know you've been wanting to get something in. Yeah.
If I may.
Andy's gone, isn't he? Yeah. Lesley, go on.
To continue what he was saying.
Are we there? Guys.
Yeah, we're here.
Hello?
You put us on hold.
I put you on hold.
Put us on hold.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do apologize, everybody. That was silly. And I think I don't know what happened to Andy as well. I don't know what happened there. Skype is a funny old thing.
So the documentary I was talking about?
Yeah, go on.
The World According to Monsanto is the name of the documentary where I got that information.
Yeah.
So
hey, Andy,
go check it out.
What I just said a minute ago? Did you hear what I just said? Did anybody hear what I just said?
I don't think so. Say it again.
Say it again.
Okay, here's what I'm saying. To further prove what you're talking about, here we have up here with the pipeline, right? With the Indians and the protesting, right? The natives, right? Now here you have a corporation that has all them military-looking dress guys standing out there, all of the big, vehicles equipped with the microwave weapons, and hold on, they're spraying planes spraying the people up there. That's like an absolute assault from a corporation. That's like an act of war from a corporation on some civilians. Doesn't that? Does anybody find that strange?
You're talking about the chemtrails, Lesley.
No. I'm talking about the native Indians there have complained about being sprayed from the sky, not chemtrails. Deliberate planes flying over a no-flying zone, poisoning the people that's up there.
Where's
trying
this?
to disperse up there in North Dakota. The pipeline.
Yeah.
Now,
When does a corporation have the right to do that to civilians? And nobody says nothing.
Today, Lesley. Today.
Yeah.
That's when they have that.
But
that's
exactly what you just said, though. You see?
I can corroborate what you were just saying about it was a crop duster spraying pepper spray onto the Standing Rock protesters.
Yes, Standing Rock. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, are you there? I don't know where Andy is. I'm trying to get him back, guys. I mean,
somebody massaging a chicken. What is that?
Massaging a chicken?
That's what I thought I heard. Is somebody massaging a chicken? I mean, not that I would have any
Gary.
experience in that. I'm just saying.
Gary,
I
what do you
really love my chickens.
Okay.
mate?
I love them an awful lot.
You've got to stop massaging your chicken, mate.
How do you think I get such good eggs out of them?
So, okay, all right. I would say that there's been another story which, on balance, is bigger than either of those stories,
All right.
and that is Syria.
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say Brangelina.
Well,
Mm,
yeah, I mean,
mm,
but
Obviously.
mm.
I mean, the thing is that, in a way, what's going on in Syria, to me, sums up what happened with Brexit and what happened with the US election. I mean, Syria is such a mess, and nobody really knows the true story. That's how complex it is. And we see so much information suggesting that our own governments are indirectly supporting the rebels, or even directly supporting them, as we've covered a little bit already. And it's just so perverse. People can't believe it, yet they don't understand it. I mean, how can people are walking around with a smile on their face whilst their governments are basically supporting the very people that are then ramroding themselves into Christmas markets or whatever? I mean, I know this is a small, tiny few idiots, but then again, our leaders are only a tiny few idiots as well. A very, very tiny minority that needs changing.
I say here in the United States, where we have like 545 people or something up there in the White House, right? And they're telling, 333 million people in America, something like that, telling them all what to do. That's kind of funny to me.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny to me.
It is, and
amazing.
I just think the whole Syria thing is such a tragedy, and I think the worst of it is that people just still, and including me, by the way, are very, very confused about actually what we're doing there, what the genuine story is.
The pipeline. I think it's the pipeline.
Yeah, it's the natural gas pipeline.
Yeah.
That Saudi Arabia wants to build through there. Assad doesn't want it. And so we're helping Saudi Arabia get rid of Assad so that they can build the pipeline, and more fossil fuels, more fossil fuels, more fossil fuels.
See, that makes sense. But on the other hand, I would say, again, it's hard to know what to believe and what not to believe. But I would also say that I see no logical reason for doing what we have allowed to happen to Aleppo and Ors, is it Ors, and places all over Syria, and indeed that we've allowed to happen in countries beforehand. Not least
I was going to say
in Iraq. It just doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense that we put up with that at all, and yet we seem pretty nonchalant about it. It's almost as though we've got bored of most people. I don't think we're talking about it at all to begin with. It's terrible.
It's terrible.
But people are talking about the refugee crisis, though.
Yeah.
Andy, are you there now?
I am. Yeah, I'm here.
Can you explain to me why in the UK people are so consumed by the refugee situation, and yet they do not really discuss the root cause, the Middle Eastern warring and war profiteering, frankly?
Correct.
Well, try. I mean, from a British or possibly European perspective, I think that this is not a it's not a refugee crisis. It's a migrant management crisis, and we had Merkel offering this open door policy last year, and as you say, you have one case tragically a couple of days ago. Which then disperses any myth that she had tried to set up.
Andy, hold that thought. We're gonna have to go to a break. We're gonna have to go to a break in a second. I just wanted to say, guys, if you're welcome to call in the second hour if you want to, and please do. And you're listening to I don't know, just four blokes having a rant. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just what can you do? But yeah. Yeah, so we're going to, I don't know, take a pee, get a beer, whatever. And you can listen to some sponsors rattle on about some old Big cheers to my guest, yeah. And old Gary is in there in the wings, standing in for old Piers. Yeah, cheers. That Piers is a git, isn't he? Please he's not. Stop doing that. I suppose there is a break. It'd be silly if there wasn't a break after all this. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Jingly-Jangly here. Yeah, we're back, and we are looking at the 2016 archive, news archive, when everything went down the loo. And I don't know, Struth. Is it going to improve? Gary, do you just have absolute terrible concerns, premonitions about 2017, or do you think that we might actually end up with something better than we saw at the beginning of 2016, which was looking pretty bad, I have to say?
Well, I would say that for the most part, it's not looking good, but with a few potential bright spots.
I think you're negative, man. Lesley, what do you think?
Well, I kind of think that when things run its course, that when you understand this, how you might want to say, kind of, it's like capitalism, for an example, is kind of like designed to collapse. So corruption, when it has its way, it basically will run as far as it will go.
We don't have capitalism anymore, though, do we? I mean, they're just bailing out that Italian bank that's, gone tits up to the tune of 20 billion or something they're giving it. Yeah. And the only reason they're doing that is because Germany knows damn well they're going to have to bail out Deutsche Bank. And so the Italians are like, well, if you're going to bail out Deutsche, then you better let us bail out ours. Otherwise, we're going to bail out of Europe. And they've got Germany by the short and curlies in terms of bailing out their Italian banks. But I mean, that's just a joke, isn't it? That's not capitalism. That's cronyism. It's plutocracy.
Well, yes, but I always remember, Olly, we have different perspectives now, right? Okay, so like that, you know a lot about, you study it, you see it, but from over here on this end, what I'm talking about is like the path of corporate America all the way up to the White House and how the government does spending and all of this stuff. This component that I'm talking about in terms of, because here in America, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like capitalism is God. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the greatest thing in the world.
It was the mantra. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is we're looking at the fruits of it now. Yeah. That's
well,
what we got. It has given birth to this business tycoon that's now your president.
It needed checking, didn't it? And we took away all the checks with things like Glass-Steagall.
Absolutely.
We took away the checks and balances, and then the whole thing.
That's right. And KBR went crazy, and Halliburton went crazy, and Cheney and them had to, everybody got paid. Okay.
And we got all the dodgy mortgages, and then lots and lots of debt off the back of it, and then they sold that debt, pretending that it was somehow good debt to countries like Greece. Who then
bank bailouts and all of that, right? So
then all that too, so that they could get their bonuses. Yeah, they needed their Christmas bonuses. I mean,
absolutely.
Well, and they needed money to pay off the ratings agencies that allowed them to have the good reputation for this garbage they were selling.
Why are people like Standard & Poor's still in business? Having told us that toxic debt was a AAA. Rating and all that nonsense, which was an absolute lot of rubbish.
Absolutely.
Standard & Poor, those guys, they exist to keep Joe Average small-time investor confident in the system.
In other words, it's propaganda.
The big-time investors do their own due diligence.
So it's just propaganda.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, once they found out that these guys were taking money to give inflated ratings to garbage stocks and such.
Stocks and bonds, yeah.
Andy,
That
what about
was when
what
they
about?
officially admitted they were propaganda outfits.
Are we doing any better in Europe, Andy? I mean,
No, I don't think we are, Ollie. I think you have a big problem. I think Brexit will take a long time to come to fruition, and it's not going to be difficult. And I think that Trump's foreign policy, the eclectic mix of lobbyists and right-wing pundits that he has on Syria is not going to help the issue. So I don't really see a lot of progress in the next 12 months unless Europe can get itself together, and unless we can begin the Brexit and the relationships with the president-elect, and really focus on a humanitarian issue as opposed to a political one.
Okay, yeah, right.
I hope you're not counting on Trump for help with humanitarian issues.
No,
I don't see that happening.
No.
I was counting on him to help with Brexit. Honestly, I am.
Well,
because he seems to believe in individual nations more than a lot of their own leaders.
He might even do so. Yes, he might. Absolutely.
Is that not potentially a good thing? Is that not potentially?
Yeah, and it might be. And if Fox News can get behind it, then even better.
There you go.
No. Anything that Fox News gets behind, you really need to take a real close look at.
Do you really think that it's true that there is this parallel between Brexit and the US election, in as much as what is reckoned this turn against the establishment? Or do you think that actually is that's nonsense and it's just a silly theory?
That was absolutely correct.
Yeah,
there has been a gigantic anti-establishment groundswell building ever since Occupy Wall Street happened, and probably before then. But that was kind of the big spark that began to fan those flames, and it has culminated so far. I cannot begin to comprehend what the next step down this path will be. Hopefully a good one. But
well, the next step, what is the next step? Andy, what's the next step in Europe?
Well, we have to start doing what Theresa May has said she's going to implement. And we have to do it in the most proactive way for the UK. Can we stay in a single market? Yes, I think we possibly can. Can we keep Nicola Sturgeon happy?
She's a Scottish leader, isn't she?
And
looks like one of the Crankies.
Indeed, Jimmy. No, the other one.
The other one, the short one.
The female one. Yeah. It was Jimmy Cranky.
That was a comedy thing when we were kids, and it was awful.
And it was awful, but not quite as bad as the situation.
Not as bad as her. Sorry. No, she's lovely. She's annoying though. She keeps going on like, the thing, we got a problem here, haven't we? So far as the UK is concerned, because the Scots, 2/3 of them voted to stay in, to remain. Whereas in England, outside of London, it was the other way around. London, it was closer, but most people wanted to stay.
So there is division, and there's now division not only within the UK, the United Kingdom, but there's now division in Europe. And unless we can handle this division and this execution of what we're doing, i.e., Brexit, I don't think European policy is going to get any better. And that
European policy hasn't even changed. I mean, there was Brexit when the Brits basically said this is the second largest net contributor, financial contributor to the EU political project.
Yeah,
the UK putting in a lot of money. Basically, the EU needs it, and other European countries, they need it to stay within for Europe to work for them as well. It is kind of like rob Peter to pay Paul, whatever way you want to look at it. But the bottom line is that suddenly they're having a massive chunk of their funding pulled from under them. So that's point one. And then we have all this sort of, if you like, more nationalist sentiment going on around Europe as well. culminating just a couple of weeks ago with the referendum in Italy, which suggested that the Italians actually don't give two hoots about the EU either. It's not quite as simple as that, but that's a pretty fair way, I think, of analysing the situation. Despite all that, what have we actually seen in terms of change from the EU? I mean, their failed leaders, the guys that couldn't keep the UK in, couldn't win the Remain side of the vote, they're still in power. Yeah. Why haven't they resigned? They're failures. Europe clearly needs to reform. What is it doing? Andy, what's it doing to reform?
Well, Brexit is clearly saying we want us to respect borders.
Yeah, that's right. That's a big chunk of it for the UK, sure, and probably across Europe as well. But yeah, that was probably the single largest item on the agenda. It was.
I think so. Yeah,
and sovereignty was maybe a second. I think sovereignty should have been the number one issue personally. But anyway, carry on. Yeah, sorry.
And if we're insisting on these nuances, we have fundamental change happening next year in France. Italy's just happened, as you've just said. It's going to happen in Germany, and it might, after what happened a couple of days ago, tragically, there might be repercussions with Merkel in the next month. There's going to be huge change.
How precarious is Merkel's position now? Because she's pretty much the only member of the old guard left, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
In a way.
And I think her position is quite tenuous right now. And I think on the 20th of January, I think Trump will move fast and he will implement things. And I think his relationship with Putin will have a knock-on effect, which could affect Germany and Merkel. And that,
I agree,
being the most, certainly the most famous European political leader, having made really quite arguably a big mistake with her 900,000 open policy door migrant threat, that could have a big impact on what happens in France. And I think what happens in France, if the right wing come in France, I think we're in for a very, very tumultuous year next year.
She's not going to make it though. Marine Le Pen and the Front National, they're not going to make the grade for the simple reason that the electoral system in France is rigged towards the centrist parties.
But Boris thought the same, Ollie.
Yeah, I think he did.
Only went on to lead the bandwagon because he thought it could, construct a political career, and he realised that what he was...
Who's this? Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson. Yeah, Boris.
Yeah, that's very good.
Thank you. Yeah, very tricky. Don't mean it. Yeah, just want Cameron's job. Sorry.
And I honestly think Boris went for this because he truly believed it wasn't going to happen.
This is Boris Johnson, the blonde bloke.
Our now foreign secretary.
Foreign secretary, yeah. What was it he said the other day? He said the Saudis. He said something very honest the other day. Okay. Let's move on. No, but before we do,
tumultuous.
Lesley and Gary, tell us what do you think from your American perspective? Do you really much think about what's going on in Europe? Do you much care? I mean, we think a lot about what's going on in the States, but then again, frankly, the US is a little bit more important than old Blighty in the geopolitical arena. Do you? What is your perception of what's going on in Europe? Do you give two hoots, and if so, why and what not?
Okay, if I may, or Gary, you want to go? Or
no, Lesley.
Go ahead, Lesley.
Let Gary compose himself. He's probably playing with his chicken.
Right. Playing with his chicken. Okay. What I would say is basically it's kind of funny the other way around. It's really, I look at the United States as getting their orders from there. Okay.
From who? From what? The Queen?
From the Queen. So it's like we have the president, which is who? The commander in chief.
Yeah.
Right. So he's commander of the Queen's army. Okay.
I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Isn't the US supposed to be a company anyway, a corporation?
Well, it's a corporation. It's not even a country. It's a corporation. So America is a big, huge plantation full of dead slaves, okay? And it's never been free. It's never been free, never. And so what I'm saying is that
It looked pretty
the
free in the
illusion-
50s.
Oh yeah,
In the Waltons, they looked
yeah.
free.
But no,
You're
but no,
saying it's all an
that's
illusion. It
television.
was-
No, it's all an illusion. It's television. And so what I'm saying is that a lot of what we're doing, if you had to flip it another way, America is like a hired gun, and like Israel,
It has
right?
acted that way for a
Right.
long time.
Israel is basically using the United States to get rid of their enemies. So it's like America is being used for that. So how do they do that? They fabricate enemies, and of course they create these scenarios to manufacture America's consent, and they fall for it every time. And so they play to America's fears, and so America just goes ahead and.
You're straying from the question here, Lesley. I'm going to have to hold you to this.
What I'm saying is
Lesley,
that's why I think that it is very important in the sense of what happens over there.
but
I
Lesley
think it's
and
very important.
Gary,
What do you mean as a balance, as a counterbalance?
Yeah, in other words, on the surface, it looks like this: America big and great. No. It's a big muscle without a head, and the head is sitting over there.
Well,
That's
I don't
what I'm
know.
saying.
Olly,
Yeah, go on.
can I just ask Lesley and Gary, very simplistically, and forgive my generalization here, but do you think that Trump is going to be a chess player or a deal breaker?
That's funny.
That's
Funny.
That's an actual question. You
Yeah.
think Trump is going to be a chess player?
Yeah.
Trump is not going to be a chess player. Trump is going to be a deal breaker.
Yes.
I mean, he's been
He could play
right
chess in
there,
the JCB.
right there on video, on national television, talking about, yeah, that played well before the election, but now we're after the election.
Yeah.
And he's talked about, yeah, everybody in this room renegotiates contracts. This room, especially out of every room in the world, this room renegotiates contracts. Yeah, he is going to break
It's all for sale.
every
It's all
deal
for
he
sale.
signs.
It's all for sale. It's all for sale.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
And that's what I
But-
meant by, if I may, there's a scene, if anybody remembers this movie with Tom Hanks and Paul Newman, Road to Perdition. Anybody
Yeah,
remember
I
that?
do. Great movie.
Okay, all right. You remember Mike in the end when he goes to get his revenge? Okay, I mean, what happened to Mike?
That's
was
Tom
tragic
Hanks.
with
Is
him
that Tom
killing
Hanks's
his
character?
family. Yes, Tom Hanks'
Right.
character. What the sad part is of course he had to go kill, Paul Newman's son, who was well.
You just gave it all away.
Oh,
Everybody
wow.
was getting ready to go and watch
Spoiler
that.
alert.
Spoiler alert. Well, basically, the saddest part that happened in that movie was the protection that the guy thought he had.
Yeah.
And so here's what happens, right? When they saw
What,
Mike
you mean the
coming,
loyalty that he thought he had?
right?
The
The loyalty he thought he had, right? So what happened is here's Mike coming, to pay his dues to get his 5 pounds of flesh, 2 pounds of flesh, whatever it is, and then next thing you know, everybody just steps to the side, and the guy's a sitting duck.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going on right here with America.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going on with America. That's what I think is happening over there.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you guys a question that is kind of related to this, and moving on a little bit as well, because I mean, it's true. There were some other things that happened this year too. Brangelina. But one thing is the changing relationship between China and the West, and it is changing, but it's basically changing because of Donald Trump, and that is the only reason really it's changing. But did it not need to change? I mean, the bottom line is that the Chinese, now I'm not saying that our democracy or so-called democracy is necessarily so totally different in the West. However, the Chinese model is one party, no democracy, one party. Therefore, I ask the question, why do we even trade with them? I mean, you could argue, you could say, we will have nothing to do with you until you have elections. And I would have thought that would be the humanitarian approach. But anyway, Trump is getting upset because of trade. It's not about anything humanitarian, it has to be said. He's getting upset because China have got I don't know. And does the West need to change its Isn't it potentially a good thing that Trump is changing the goalposts with China? Do we not need to do that with nation states like China, like Saudi Arabia, like Bahrain, like the, UAE, all those mafiosi, sheikh
Well,
countries?
how well do you think those things will be perceived? How
What
well
do
do
you,
you think those things will be received?
well, the
As in,
changing
like
relationship.
Trump declaring China a currency manipulator, that sort of activity.
Well, very
See,
well. People, they like it, don't they? They like it. They
But
like
yeah,
it.
they're going to be all over that.
But the fact is that he's right as well, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've
but
been
what I'm saying is,
manipulating their currency
yes,
such that
but
prices
Well,
for Chinese
so is
products are lower than
America.
everywhere else.
Well, so have we. I mean, look at everything from LIBOR to gold prices and goodness knows what we've done everything bar jail bankers.
wow,
Plenty of people fined. But so we basically doing the same. I mean, that's what quantitative easing is, isn't it?
Well,
We're doing the same in that sense. But is it not necessarily? Is it in a way? Is it not a good thing for us to have a debate about our relationship with frankly some very concerning regimes?
yes. Answer is yes.
So
which
Trump's
particular
doing that.
regimes would you
Well,
like us to rethink our relationship with?
Well, he's talking about China, and I mean China is the number one candidate, isn't it? For the simple reason that a third of the population of this planet live there and are affected by a one-party state. Now, I know that he's not going into it from the point of view of democracy, and frankly, I think that the reasons that he's going into it are, not necessarily as well, I mean, we need to look at the more humanitarian side. But on the other hand, at least he is opening up a debate about the value that we place on these kind of relationships. Is that not a good thing? Or is it just not being picked up anyway?
It's being picked up. I've seen stories about at least about the currency manipulation part of it. That's been picked up. That's kind of getting around, but not much else from what I have been seeing as far as stuff that's being picked up by the general public. So he's going to be impulsive and clumsy, but some good may come of it.
Who is more dangerous, people, in 2017, Russia or China? Or Trump?
I
Define
would say
dangerous.
Or the EU?
Okay, yeah. Define dangerous in what way?
Well, I guess it comes down to liberty. In terms of liberty.
Liberty for whom?
For people. For we the people.
Which people?
Well,
there's
all of us.
A bunch of people out there.
Yeah.
So worldwide liberty.
Yeah. Who will be responsible for the most deaths in 2017? Which nation state do you reckon?
Probably
Russia.
Trump.
Yeah,
I mean, America will be responsible for the most deaths.
Yeah, I agree with you. In cahoots with the UK.
Yep, I agree.
And France.
And Navarro's, dealings now with, in foreign policy is, I think, going to be very dangerous.
Navarro?
Yeah, Peter Navarro, the new guy chosen by Trump to lead the trade and industry policy towards China.
Oh, yep.
This has been seen by China as despicable, parasitical, and brutal. And I think that if he goes in there,
his appointment. Yes. Why? What's his background? He doesn't like them. I thought that they liked his. Oh no, I'm thinking of the ambassador to.
Yeah, and his background, much like many of Trump's people, is not political and it's not diplomatic. And I think come 20th of January, there is going to be a there's going to be a backlash towards a essentially non-diplomatic perspective. Mm-hmm. Where to be, for good or ill, is to be seen. But I think we are seeing sensitive issues being rocked, and I don't think. And I think you're right. I think Trump will be responsible.
That's what I meant by how will they be received and perceived? It's like somebody's going to kick the hornet's nest.
Yeah.
Okay, you can kick it, but are you prepared for what's going to come out of it?
Yeah, precisely.
You know, I have to say, guys, I'm not saying you're wrong, but asking you about the year that's gone and looking into the year ahead, I'm hearing a lot of fear and, if you like, the terror factor is ingrained in all of us now, isn't it? I mean, we all seem to be
It's the
pretty
unknown.
fearful.
It's the unknown. It's
We
the unknown.
have you?
Yeah.
I know you're very old, Lesley. Do you remember? Do you remember times? Do you think the times are more fearful now than they used to be, or do you think that it's basically the same and we're forgetting ourselves? We're too wrapped up in the
Well,
moment, or
I have a philosophy about all of that, if I may, and how I cope with it and how I deal with it. I kind of like to keep things simple. All right. If
go on.
if if we remove the PhDs, the masters, the political organizations and all of that, if we remove all of that,
Right.
basically human beings are here to fertilize the earth with turds. You see, we got to get back to what is simple. You
Yeah.
understand? You see, because if we stop doing that, it seems like it affects the Earth like gravitational rotation or something. I don't know. I just think that there it
Sorry.
is. There it is.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
See that? As a matter of fact, that's a symbol for it. You see how that goes around when you flush the toilet? It's like it's a symbol for keeping the world. That's it. That's what I'm saying. There
Sorry.
you
Yeah.
go. There you go. There you go. So I think if we get back to the basics and pay attention to that, then we'll all be all right. We'll make it through.
Yeah.
And so there you have it. Yeah, there you have it.
Mm.
What all this other stuff, it's a diversion. Even with what Andy was saying a minute ago, and what you were saying a minute ago, a lot of this sensitive stuff, these are just diversions.
Yeah.
They're just diversions.
They may be diversions, but people are fearful now in a way that I don't think they have been
Oh
before.
yes. Oh yeah. Well, because fear is paralyzing. You see,
Yeah.
fear is paralyzing.
Yeah.
You will sit back and watch your, so to speak, enemy, you know, cut the
Wh-
throat on the guy right next to you because you're scared.
When Obama got in, I think it's fair to say that most of us were very hopeful. And
Absolutely.
I personally, I feel thoroughly deceived by Barack Obama, I have to say. I mean, when he got in the day after the election or
Absolutely.
whatever, I put on my Facebook timeline in uppercase, "Congratulations, America." I thought it was so cool. But actually, you know what? To be honest with you, to me, he just seems like a bit of an Uncle Tom. Like, he's,
Let me tell you a true story.
go on.
I think it's not hard
But
to tell
but
about
but we were
African
hopeful
American.
then. My point though, just
Oh,
finish that.
totally.
We were
Yeah,
hopeful, whereas
totally.
this
Yeah,
time
totally.
it's like
Totally.
there seems to be so
Well,
little of that.
well,
Anyway, carry
Ollie,
on. Yes, tell us that
if
story.
I may, if I may share just one African American perspective, so to speak.
Hmm.
Trust me, when you say hopeful, you can't imagine how hopeful it was to African Americans that we
Yeah,
have a black president. This
beautiful.
was like people were perceiving him as like,
Yeah.
this is the man, Jesus, right? Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, now watch this. I was the one sitting in the barber shop, and brothers was looking at me like, so Blair, who you voting for? And I said, well, I don't vote. I don't believe in the political voting system that we have. I don't vote. What? Oh, come on, man. We got a black president. Come on up. Now, I'm going to tell you what the brothers were saying. Now, watch this now.
Mhm.
Blair, I can't believe that you're not going to vote for a black president. Da, da, da. And, our ancestors died for us. Excuse me? What they died for is not the present voting system that we have in place.
Yeah.
Let's make that real clear. Okay. It's been rigged. It's been rigged for a very long time, for
Yeah.
one. And I said, and besides, I said, see, I looked at it as them killing two birds with one stone. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, pay attention here. Okay, the African American people would be blinded by the fact that he's an African American, he's a black man, right, or whatever, right? All right, right. We're blinded by that.
Mm.
Now, at the same time, they'll play on the fears of the white America part that's fearful and racist, right? They'll play on them because they know that no matter how much dirt they shovel up under his watch, America will never look past anything other than the color of his skin for what is wrong with America.
Mm.
Mm.
You see? So what happens is he became the perfect fall guy. He became the perfect puppet. And so when Barack got in office and stayed away from anything black, he would go to APAC, but he avoided black affairs and black people and gatherings, and everybody sat back 4 years later, and they was real silent. So I went back to that same barbershop. I said, "Hey, what do you think about our president?" They were silent.
Really?
I said, "Now you see why I'm telling you why I didn't vote for him."
That's why Hillary Clinton lost, wasn't it? Ultimately,
Bingo.
the black vote didn't come out for her.
Yes.
Bingo.
Yes.
Bingo.
And so that was
Bingo.
a verdict on Barack Obama's presidency.
Absolutely.
Sadly. Yeah.
Let's move on, guys. Let's try and cover something else, because I'm sure something else happened in 2016. What
England
seems to be overshadowed by something else, but let's try to figure out what is that, Olly.
Well,
Hey?
English football, Olly. I mean, English football did reach an all-time low.
What, Leicester City?
No, England in the Euro Championships. Having been thrashed by Iceland.
Oh, yeah.
It was
And
the
it
last,
works-
the last European tweet of 2016. We have reached an all-time low with the beautiful game, and so England, we can't really claim as football or soccer to be our own game anymore. That's a shame.
They've only got one team in Iceland, and they've only got about 200 people that play football in Iceland.
Indeed.
And they beat us about 5-0.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Iceland rules, man.
Another
Iceland is awesome. They threw their
They're
bankers in
anarchists.
jail.
They're anarchists.
They
Another
don't
great-
mess around.
Wait, I got something I want to ask everybody. I ask something. Okay, like today, Bitcoin reached an incredible high. Did everybody see that today?
Yes,
I
it
did, yeah.
Okay, all right. Now watch this. We did witness some countries and their currencies collapsing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, some of them got by doing what? Turning to Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what I'd like to ask everybody is, how do you see what's going to go on with cryptocurrencies
Oh.
this coming year?
Oh, this is
When
an
we
intelligent
look at
question, isn't it?
Absolutely. When we're looking at all of these collapses, these countries going bankrupt, Venezuela, all these different. So what's going to happen now?
It's the war on
Yeah,
cash. Is it the war on
Absolutely.
cash? What's going on in India? Are they not getting rid of cash?
Yeah. They got rid of
And
they
gold.
got rid of certain. That's right.
And
So now what?
there's also
And
talk about
also,
that in, is it Finland or somewhere in Scandinavia? They're talking about it as well. They want to get. We are being fit. That you've got a cracker there, Lesley. I think that so far in the game show you're winning because of bringing that up. Because that is a huge story this year. The war on
Centralized. That's right. And actually, this is what I meant about capitalism and it designed to fail. Well, when it designed, there's a very interesting little video called by RSA Animate. It's on YouTube, and it's called, Crises of Capitalism, right? And it just illustrates capitalism and how it's designed to fail. Right? So here's what happens. So what I'm saying is when our almighty dollar or pound goes belly up, what's going to be standing there in its place?
Yeah.
See,
I
that's the
don't know.
question
Get some
everybody needs to
lollipops from
think
the
about.
corner shop.
I guess.
Well, Bitcoin's prediction for 2017 is meteoric.
Mm,
It is. Yeah.
okay. All right.
Is it not very dangerous to have a currency which you can't put in your pocket? I mean, it's presumably, I don't know a lot about Bitcoin, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm all for innovation and stuff like that. But the thing about cash, this is what
They
people
say,
need to
Ollie,
Go on.
it doesn't really matter because cash, credit cards, plastic, whatever.
What do you mean it
predictions
doesn't
are.
matter?
Well,
It does matter.
No, it doesn't really because we all have interests in a number of things in any which way we deal with.
Let me tell you why it matters. No, Mr. Reiss, let me tell you why it matters, and then you can counter me.
Just 1 second.
Okay,
Just 1 second.
go on.
If the market, as I understand it, is predicting that Bitcoin will trade between $10,000 and $50,000 US in 2020.
I don't know what that means, but yeah, okay.
Meaning
In
the
other
price
words,
of
do
it
very
will go
well.
up and it'll be worth that well.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's right now it's around 866 or something.
Right.
So imagine it being $10,000, $50,000 a coin.
Right.
Okay. So that's a pretty huge rise.
I might have to start mining this stuff. Go on.
So
This is what I'm saying.
So with respect to what you just said, it doesn't actually matter whether we understand what it is. If we understand that our plastic or our Ethernet currency is rising on a market,
No.
we have to be aware.
No. This war on cash is frightening, and I'll tell you why. Because they can't just turn off your cash in your wallet. Whereas with a credit card,
Bitcoin is becoming popular.
But wait, Ollie, hold on.
Yeah, go on.
Friend, my dearest
What am I
friend.
missing? Yeah.
Let me remind you of something here. First of all, cash is pretty much backed by nothing.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, no, sure, absolutely,
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, so that's worthless.
Backed
You
by
may as well
confidence.
wipe
That's
the
what
rear
it's.
end with that.
It's backed by confidence.
That's your confidence.
That's it.
It's backed. That's a false sense of security right there. Now let's go back to
so's
the other.
Bitcoin. So's Bitcoin. That's the reason the price is going up.
Well, we have intrinsic value. Okay, we have intrinsic value. All right. So what I'm saying is
intrinsic value to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Well, because of the
And
way
here's the
All right,
reason why.
Lesley, what is the intrinsic value of Bitcoin?
Here is the intrinsic value of Bitcoin. In the present fiat monetary system, right, where we have it being centralized, we have it being taxed, right? Everything you do with a dollar is, it's big brothers. Like,
yeah.
All right. Well, what happens is here's the appeal. It's almost like you have if you're holding a big rock in front of you, right, with your arms extended, and you're swinging around in a circle. It's like how the rock affects the way you move. They're kind of tied together like that centrifugal force balance between the two. So in other words, the worse cash does, then the more appealing Bitcoin becomes.
Well, yeah, of course, because people flee to something. I mean, why are they fleeing? Why are they fleeing to Bitcoin and not gold? Sorry, Gary, go on.
Well, let's look at what
happened
in gold.
My question was not answered, though. The inherent
No,
value.
that's right. He didn't answer it. I noticed that. I was being a gentleman. Sorry, carry on.
We really need to figure out what the intrinsic value of a Bitcoin is versus the intrinsic value of any other currency.
It's again, it's confidence. Lesley, it's confidence, surely.
That's what I'm saying. It's confidence. It's what you perceive it to be.
Sure.
Now, I'm going to go a little controversial here among this crowd.
Right.
And I'm going to say that the value of gold-backed currency is also simply a confidence-based currency. Because
the point I was going to next.
Point. What is the intrinsic value of gold?
Well,
it's what we can agree that the price is, right?
As digital gold.
Hold on, say that again, Andy. We missed the first half.
That is the reason why Bitcoin has been described as digital gold.
Correct.
Yeah, but
because
gold, you can coat
what its value is.
For example, though, Gary, you can coat capacitors with gold, and then motherboard manufacturers can pretend that their motherboard is better than another one. Silver is more useful.
But wait a minute.
Because silver you can actually use for medicinal reasons and all sorts of medicinal purposes, all sorts of things. But of course, there's a lot more of it about. They reckon
technological purposes,
but
communication,
it's also,
production, that sort of thing. It's great for that.
But it's also impractical. Okay, it's also impractical. For an example,
what's impractical? Gold.
Gold and silver. Let's give each one of us a gold bar. Okay. All right. Now we go to the local little pub, right? We want to get beer. All right, hey, I'm gonna treat you guys to some drinks. Well, how much are the drinks? I'm gonna take that whole gold bar and sit it on the counter.
Melt a bit off.
You see? What? Pull out my knife and just shave away. It's kind of impractical. In other words, if you, Olly, had, $1 million in gold, right?
That's the reason.
$10 million in gold, right?
Yeah.
And shit hit the fan. Excuse my French. Oops. If the mess hit the fan and you had to bounce and leave, do you imagine what it's going to be like trying to haul that gold somewhere?
It's going to be heavy.
Yes.
It's going to weigh more than a wheelbarrow full of cash.
You might have to leave it behind and save your own hide.
All right, Lesley.
Yes.
Let me give you some pushback.
All right.
When it hits the fan,
Yes.
Your Bitcoins, if the big EMP strike happens, your Bitcoins evaporate.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
right.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
And that's blockchain.
Pardon?
Say again?
And that's blockchain.
That's what,
One more
Andy?
time, Andy.
That's blockchain.
I don't know what that word you're saying is.
Blockchain.
The
Blockchain.
the identity of trading Bitcoin can be seen as blockchain.
Andy's now pretending that he knows all about it.
Wait, are you saying blockchain?
Yeah.
Yeah, blockchain.
Like a chain of blocks?
Blockchain.
No, it's a protocol, a transfer
It's a protocol.
Never mind. It's all I don't know.
Right.
Look,
what he's saying is if the power goes out.
But the reason why it's important is because it deals with money within the ether and not real stuff.
Oh, now watch though. What just did happen?
Hold on. Andy, I think, is in danger of giving Bitcoin an intrinsic value.
No. Would I buy Bitcoin as opposed to gold or platinum right now? No. So I'm not, Ollie.
But wait,
Right.
Ollie. I think a bank just did one of the world's first blockchain transactions.
Yes, they did. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Okay, about 8 big major banks.
They must be desperate to get in on it. And
this is what I'm saying to you. That's exactly right.
I am worried. About the war on cash. And any of you guys, do you know what's happened in India this year? Because they've outlawed what do they call it? Yeah, anything over a 500 rupee or something, or the equivalent of $500 or something, and any note bigger than that, they've got rid of, saying that it's mainly big crime that uses that, politicians, backhanders, all that kind of stuff. We don't really know, but what we do know is we do know that they're doing that. We also know that they are saying we're taking away your gold, and apparently they've been snatching people's jewelry.
Ollie, there's a very simple reason for that. Cash is king in India.
But there's a catch to that. Okay.
So India's a special case. You're saying it's backhander, it's a backhander economy.
I'd say it's a culture. Sorry, Larry. Lesley, I think there is a cultural inherence of that. Yes.
But there's a catch to that, Ollie. In other words, what you just said was the cover story. In actuality, what was going on was this. India has a black market currency issue.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like a lot of people not paying taxes and so on and so forth. But here's what they did. They outlawed these 2 specific bills, let's say like a $20 bill and, a $50 bill or whatever. And so what happens is the people, who had the most of these bills, all of a sudden it was rendered worthless, right? Like no good.
Yeah.
So they was like, well, wait. That's, our wealth. What's happening? So they said, well, what you want to do is you want to come down to the bank, okay? And what we're going to do is you bring in those old bills, okay? And we'll get you straight with the new ones and stuff. But while you're here, could you please fill out this information in order to expedite this process? So what happens is basically that's how they started getting into people's business about where their money comes from, how they're making their money, so they could tax the crap out of them.
Implemented by Modi, who
is he their PM?
Yeah.
Modi.
There you go.
Yeah.
So in other words, it was like a way for them to strong arm people into forfeiting their financial records so they could try to keep track of. So you see what I'm saying? So this is what I mean, how things they're not always as they appear to be. And Ollie, that can happen with cash. They could render XYZ bill no good tomorrow. And then what?
Yeah.
I don't mind it personally. I don't mind if they get rid of a few bills here and there, but for them to to outlaw currency entirely, I think is a really, really dangerous place to go. Because let's say that we take this scenario to an extreme, and that's basically us all being chipped with RFIDs. which is, one of the conspiracy theories out there. It's not. We know now that it's not quite as much of a conspiracy theory as it used to be, because I think it's the U.S. Senate
becoming a
has
reality.
said that we are going to do this for people that
Yes.
we judge have mental health issues. Well, in my opinion, I think most of us on this planet have mental health issues,
All of us are
some
crazy. All of
kind
us
of
are
or another.
crazy.
How you
Yeah.
All of us are crazy.
diagnose
Yeah, but
somebody,
different.
yeah, exactly. So
And
this
that's why
is,
we have to fight against that.
yeah, that's right.
We
If
cannot
they, what
allow
do? They
that.
say, oh, this guy, we don't like what he's saying or whatever, and so we're going to chip him, say that he's a nutter, chip him, and then guess what? You go into the supermarket to buy your loaf of bread or whatever, and you scan your wrist, your chip to pay, and it's been turned off. You
But the
can't
reason
pay.
why-
You've got
but the
no
reason
money.
why- but the
With
reason
cash,
why
they
broken-
couldn't turn it off. With this is an assault on potentially on liberty at
but
the behest of the state.
But the reason why Modi was able to implement that, Ollie, is because 300 million Indians, like 30% of the country, don't have a bank account, whereas most people in the Western world, quote unquote, do, and so there is a fingerprint.
Okay, there is a special case in
But
India.
let's not forget, over there where you guys are, right, in the UK, there were people lining up at ATMs and they couldn't get their money out.
Yeah, with
That had nothing to do with Bitcoin. That had nothing to do with Bitcoin. That's what your quote unquote beloved cash, Ollie. These people were lining up at their ATMs and couldn't get their money out.
I don't love cash. I just think we need a token that we need to transact with. That's all. I mean, we don't have any choice. I personally think I certainly, when I say I don't like cash, I don't like fiat currency. I think we need something that's somehow asset backed. On what, I don't know, but people's endeavor somehow would be.
Yeah,
cool.
Ollie, that's where my problem with this term fiat currency comes from, is that name me something that is not a fiat currency in its really in its core. Gold, we declare that to have a particular value based on the open market.
Well, that's the magpie thing, isn't it? We like shiny things. Silver actually has got a more intrinsic value to it than gold, hasn't it? It's useful for medical stuff and things like that.
What about all of the bonds that they said that basically they found out? There was a guy, a financial analyst, can't remember his name. He came forth and said this year, like how he realized like how much people who, so to speak, purchased a bond representing gold or silver, and come to find out that there's no way in the world is physically that much silver in circulation. Like, in other words, they just was printing up these bonds that they come to find out
That's
that
right.
has been fraudulent and that are not attached to nothing.
They reckon that's the deal with gold, isn't it? If you buy gold on paper, you've got nothing.
Exactly.
Potentially.
Yeah, absolutely true.
And it's a bit like if there's a run on the banks, there's not enough money in the vault to.
No.
Exactly.
And I think that Fort Knox has been empty for years. It's been empty for years.
Yeah, I've heard that. But didn't they
That's why
reckon?
they don't let nobody in it. Yeah, that's why they don't let nobody in it. It's been empty for years.
But that doesn't. Does the US actually own much of its own gold anymore? I know it's supposed to look after gold for Germany and stuff like that, and the Germans asked for some of it back. That story seemed to go a bit quiet. Is whether or not it's all very curious, isn't it? It's all very curious.
Yes. Well, it's like shifting sand. Like, what do you stand on?
Let me ask you another question. I'm going to change tack entirely here. Another big story in 2016, which was massive for a minute virally, and then seemed to be seemed to have been a big spoof, and then, well, maybe not. Pizzagate. Gary, tell me.
That is a very strange topic to me.
Have you researched that, Lesley? Have you done any research into it?
Not really, because I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna just come on out and say how I feel about it. I think something behind it is CIA driven. It's like an exploitation.
Well, you mean it's a smear?
Yeah, I think it. Well, for an example, anytime they want to come and get you, they can just grab your computer and say you had whatever XYZ and the third porn on your computer, and there you have it. You're locked up. They charge you with it. So part of this whole Pizzagate thing, when you talk about this pedophilia and them pumping these articles and these images, that you have to be careful with this stuff that you might run across, because it's like I think that it's very probable that it's no doubt that these things do occur. There's no doubt about that. The little satanic rituals, the pedophilia, org rings, and all those things do exist. I think that they're being exploited for a particular reason and purpose, and I think that's dangerous.
The fact is we cannot be sure. What Gary, what do you think about the whole Pizzagate thing?
I think that there is some truth to it.
Yes.
That has been inflated to some degree, but that has also been massively tamped down and called conspiracy theory, because those who are involved in the upper echelons of power are being protected, but right. I'm not sure we'll ever know who. I mean, I've read some of the emails, and some of those code words really do sound like there's no way they're actually talking about food.
No, that's right. It's most
Absolutely.
peculiar,
No,
the
absolutely.
diction
I mean,
used.
talking about pasta on your pizza, and people just don't talk that way. That's not how normal people talk.
No,
so
they don't.
Clearly,
they don't.
that's code. So
it is. It does sound codey.
There's something there, but
Andy,
I don't.
Have you been following this, Andy?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's all about code words, and I think the one person who could join this conversation, John Podesta, could add some light to this. But yes, obviously
he was mocking. I saw him on video, mocking Assange and WikiLeaks, and wishing him happy Sunday. I'm going to have my roast now. I hope you're enjoying the embassy, sort of thing. Instead of saying, "Oh look, those emails weren't mine," he was just mocking WikiLeaks. Like, correct. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever to this campaign. Sod you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
It was peculiar response.
Arrogance.
There were no denials over Clinton and Saudi Arabia either. Her links with them. I mean, how can there? Such enormous stories that the press just don't seem to have. But then we get this guy who goes into the pizza place or something, and he starts shooting everybody up, or he doesn't. He just hits the ceiling a couple of times with some ammo, and they reckon that this guy was proof, an activist or some conspiracy theorist, nutter, terrorist character. Who spent too much time looking at fake news, had gone in and basically had proven that there was nothing untoward going on at these premises. That no, they weren't locked up children in the cellar, and therefore it's all fine and hunky dory. The story doesn't mean anything. But the fact is that those emails are still there, and the language is still weird as hell.
Correct.
That event might have been staged for that exact same effect.
That's another thing that has been mentioned. Was that a false flag? Was it
Correct.
No, it's fictitious conspiracy theory.
This ambassador that was shot the other day in Russia, that looked like a dodgy assassination as well. Talking of potential false flags.
Yes.
I mean, what was that? I never saw such a clean, mind you, not that I go around watching those assassinations, but what a clean assassination. He looked so clean. He looked like he was in a health clinic.
And such fantastic news coverage.
No blood. Yeah. The cameraman got it. He zoomed out just at the right time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And he didn't run away. The cameraman didn't run away, did he?
No. Yeah. No. Shots fired. He didn't go anywhere.
And this guy is the Russian ambassador in Turkey. I mean, Turkey is hardly the safest state on the planet. And he's got no protection. Yeah. He's got no protection, security detail. Are we really supposed to believe that? That was a very odd thing. I'm not saying it was a false flag, but I am saying that it was another strange incident that just it didn't add up somehow.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah. Correct.
Gary, what do you think of that?
There was a lot about that did not seem realistic, like real world kind of event. It was too clean, not sloppy enough. And yeah, there's just very little to believe about how that went.
Yeah,
I don't know what the bigger picture is yet, but we're going to look into it.
Okay, we're at the top of the hour, guys. I do this time. This show just goes way too fast. We could carry on about this. We haven't even talked about the bodge that was the Chilcot inquiry and Tony Blair getting off. And
indeed, yeah. Indeed.
But last question, guys. We're coming up to Christmas and what have you. I don't know. Tell us something festive. It's all very chilly in London, isn't it, Andy? You must be feeling festive.
It's chilly.
Any snow?
It's chilly. There's no snow. It's bright. It's crisp. It looks like rain, I'm afraid, for the weekend. For Christmas weekend.
Lots of Christmas carolers going around menacing the neighbourhood.
Of course there are. There are numerous people. And Anne Summers this afternoon.
You're going to be at home?
Did I lose everybody? Hello?
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, we're back.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
Just in time to sign off.
Well, we're gonna have to go now, guys. But look, I mean, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
And you two guys, Merry Christmas.
To be jolly. Yes.
And we'll be back next week. And I don't know. I reckon we might do something similar to today. To be honest with you, it's just this year we're going to be analysing it for years. Hold on, jumping the gun there. Yeah, it's top of the hour. Thank you very, very much indeed, Gary Branson, so much, Andi, Reiss, and Lesley Blair. You are really, really, really lovely to have you on, guys, and you're big friends of this show, and be really nice to see you back again very, very soon. Gary, you better be here next week, mate, because it's just you and me.
You know I'm here. I'm here.
And your chickens. Thanks, guys. Here's to us in 2017. Let's hope that, I don't know. Fingers crossed. That was Jingly-Jangly. Piers Garnham isn't here. I'm Olly Connolly. Ciao.